morning and welcome to the Moss Justice Center. I'm Lieutenant Mike Baker, Public Information Officer for the York County Sheriff's Office. For the past several weeks, the York County Sheriff's Office has conducted an investigation into allegations of assaults involving members of the Clover High School football team. That investigation has concluded. The purpose of this press conference is to discuss the findings of that investigation.
Next, I think what I'd like to do is to introduce Detective Russ Yeager over here in the blue shirt. Detective Yeager is the individual that has conducted this investigation along with his captain, Captain Jerry Hoffman, in the green shirt. They have spent many days investigating this case because we feel like it has been a very thorough investigation. And of course, I'll let Solicitor Brackett and what we do in cases like this, where it is actually a case where do you get charged, do you not charge?
I too would like to start by commending Detective Yeager. Russ has done an outstanding job gathering the information that we needed to come to a determination as to what should happen as a result of the incident that took place, particularly the incident on September the 19th of this year. When there was an incident on September the 19th of 2011 at the Clover High School in the varsity locker room. There was an incident. But the question isn't, did something happen? Something happens every day, somewhere, everywhere. The question is what happened amount to a crime? And in order to determine that, we needed to speak to everybody who was there. By the time the information first came to the attention of law enforcement on October the 6th, some 2.5 weeks after the incident took place, the circumstances of what happened had been running and circulating through the hallways of the Clover High School and among the student population, and it had fermented and twisted and taken on a life of its own. What started as a simple event turned into what I've used the term a renegade rumor that was running up and down the halls, wreaking havoc on the truth. Because as everybody knows, when a rumor gets loose, it takes a lot of effort and time to throw a net over it, hold it down, peel back the layers that have been added by the people who've been in possession of the rumor, and get down to the kernel of truth that's underneath it. And it took a lot of hard work, and I want to commend Russ Yeager for all. Ultimately, the allegations that were made at the outset, the things that were being said in the rumor mill, if true, would have been a horrible event and would have resulted in somebody going to prison if I had anything to do with it. But after looking into it, and gathering all the information, speaking to everybody that was there, what we have here is nothing more than a bunch of locker room horseplay. On September the 19th, 2011, I found no evidence anywhere in the investigation that there's any routine or tradition or history of hazing that goes on at Clover High School. Your children are safe at Clover High School, and everybody should just get back to business.
Our school district also conducted our own investigation. The principal and assistant principals were talking with students before we turned it over to the Sheriff's Department, and at the same time during all of that. Our investigation the findings of our investigation were absolutely agreed upon by the Sheriff's investigation. The things that they found complemented and meshed very much with what our principal and assistant principals found talking to the students. Disciplinary action for 10 of the 13 students is over. 10 of the 13 students are back in school and doing well. 3 of the students were found to have had a higher level of involvement by the principal and his staff. Those students have gotten a differentiated, perhaps more severe punishment, although they are being allowed to, they're all seniors, so those other 3 are being allowed to graduate with their class, being allowed to finish school in an alternative setting.
Well, I mean, without going into all the details, I will say this, that, some of the players grabbed one other kid that had been antagonizing them and playing with them and what have you, and had been doing it for quite some time. And, they just, we've all played these games as kids. King of the Hill or Pile On or whatever, and, you act like you're going to grab somebody and so on and so on. But let me just sum it up by saying this. If we could have proved evil intent or malice in somebody's heart to do another student harm, then we probably wouldn't even take this action that we're taking today.
You know, it's one thing if you jokingly say something and then you don't do it, then you never intended to do anything. I mean, we're talking about a group of 17-year-old boys here in a locker room. Nobody got hurt, nobody intended to hurt anybody. And so, you know, you can't hold somebody liable for what maybe they could have done. You have to hold them liable for what they actually did. And they didn't do anything. You know, I mean, they grabbed the kid up who was antagonizing, who was running in and out. They may have spanked him on his butt a couple of times. You know, that kind of stuff. But that's, I mean, 17-year-old boys, that's what we're dealing with here. They're acting like 17-year-old boys. And that's, you know, that's what we got on our hands here. This is not a crime. There was no criminal intent. If we held people criminally responsible every single time something like this happened, we would have half the juvenile population in the justice system at any given time.